Hey, it's April with Possible Diet, and today I'm going to teach you how to make creamy kimchi noodles with bacon. So if you've seen my bacon fried rice video, you know that I'm a fan of bacon. And I saw an adaptation of this recipe and I thought it was really interesting, so I thought I'd give it a shot. I have some bacon here that I have cooked until it's crispy. I'm going to move fast because it's getting super crispy. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of diced red onion, right in that. It's 4 ounces of bacon, so just cook that onion right in the fat. Add a teaspoon of garlic. I'm just using my gourmet garden, which you know I love. You can use fresh garlic if you have it. Make sure the heat is medium so the garlic doesn't burn. Oh, also, I've had some shirataki noodles soaking in seafood stock. I rinsed them again, and I've had them on low in seafood stock for about 20 minutes, just to kind of get the funk off of them. After you stir in that garlic, you're going to add 3/4 cup of minced kimchi. Now, I've been a fan of using kimchi when you're cooking in unconventional ways ever since I read Roy Choi's amazing cookbook, LA Sun. And one of the things that I've gotten in the habit of doing is whenever I get kimchi, I take it out of the jar, unless I want to use it whole, like as a condiment or in a recipe or something. I take it out of its jar, blitz it in a food processor, and then put it back in its jar. And that way I can just add a scoop to anything I'm cooking. So it's super handy. Needless to say, if you're not a fan of kimchi, you're not going to be a fan of this dish, because there's a lot of kimchi in it. But I was intrigued. I saw it on Instagram, and I'll link the account that I saw it on. I've taken some liberties with the recipe, but all in all, I was impressed enough to want to give it a try. So you're going to cook this sort of kimchi, bacon, red onion sauce for about 6 to 8 minutes. And then we're going to add 3/4 cup of whipping cream and 1/4 cup of coconut cream. You can use all whipping cream if you want. The first time I made this, I was out of whipping cream, and so I used coconut cream, and it turned out pretty good, so I just kept it. But feel free to use all whipping cream if you like. All right, I'm gonna go drain these noodles, and I'll see you back here when this is ready. All right, this is my combination of a 1/4 cup of coconut cream. I just use this Cara, but you can use the kind that comes in a can if you like. Just make sure you stir it before you add it. And then 3/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. I mean, this smells pretty good, just saying. Give that a stir, let it get hot, and then go ahead and add in your noodles. Again, I'm using shirataki noodles. They are a different brand. They're called Skinny Pasta, which is a different brand than the regular shirataki noodles, but I thought I'd give them a try. And then one thing that I like to add to this dish that's not in the original recipe is a cup of diced sugar snap peas, because you know I like to add my veggies. And then you're just going to heat this until the sugar snap peas are bright and green and tender, and the sauce has thickened a little bit. All right, while our noodles are thickening up on the other burner, I am gonna pan fry a couple of steaks. I like to pan fry steaks because it's fast and I don't have a grill, and it's a little bit tricky, but once you get the hang of it, it's like super easy, and it's my go-to. If you hear wind whistling, I have my window open because my kitchen gets smoky when I pan fry steaks. So the key to pan frying steaks, and this is a little different because I marinated these, and generally you wouldn't marinate like a tenderloin steak, but I made kind of like my version of Roy Choi's Splash, and I've only marinated these steaks for like 20, maybe 30 minutes, really, really quick. Because they're, you know, good quality meat, you like don't really want to take away from the flavor of the meat. I just want that flavor on the outside since I'm eating a dish that's going to go well. And the marinade that I used is 3/4 cup of soy sauce, 3 tablespoons of plum vinegar, 1/4 cup of rice vinegar, a teaspoon of sriracha, 2 teaspoons of kochukaru, which is like the red spice that they put in kimchi, a tablespoon of coconut smart sugar, and then, which is made by Miss Jones, and a tablespoon of minced garlic, teaspoon of minced ginger, tablespoon of salt-free everything bagel seasoning. Well, that seems a little weird, but it's got like ginger and garlic and sesame seeds in it. And then I have these 2 petite fillets. And like I said, I marinated them, you know, I would say 20, it might have been 30 minutes, just enough to get the flavor on the outside. And then I patted them dry. That's the key. You want to pat them dry. So I've got my stove heated up on medium-high heat. You want your pan to be really, really hot. And I am using avocado oil spray because it has a high smoke point. Give it a spray. Immediately put your steaks on there. And then step away. Don't touch them for like 4 minutes. And then come back in 4 minutes, flip them over, cook them for 3 minutes, and then let them rest for 10 minutes. That is my go-to. However you want to cook your steak, feel free, but that's kind of like, that's my go-to. So I'm going to set my timer right now. Okay, now I'm going to flip my steak. And they're going to be burnt like that because there's sugar and soy sauce in the marinade. So if you don't like it burnt, don't marinate it or use a different method. But this is how I roll. It's how my grandpa, like, he used to make steaks and he would just cook them in soy sauce and I think vinegar and maybe a little garlic. And they would be like black on the outside and perfectly rare medium on the inside. And I've been trying to replicate his steak for like 10 years. And this is the closest that I've gotten is this recipe. Okay, sorry about the noise of the vent fan earlier. So now that these have been cooked, they look like that, same side. I'm gonna put them on this plate. And I'm just gonna let them rest. They're gonna rest for like 5 to 10 minutes while I plate my noodles, which look fantastic, by the way. And smell fantastic. This is what the noodles look like. They look like creamy ramen. All right, I'll see you back here. Okay, we're ready to plate our dish. So you can see that these noodles have just, the timing on this dish is what I really like because you cook the steaks while the noodles kind of like thicken and heat up. And then as soon as the steaks are done, you can just turn the heat off on the noodles and let the steaks finish kind of like resting because they'll continue to cook, you know, as you, they're going to continue to cook as they rest. So that's why you have to be careful not to overcook them. Because even if they look perfect in the pan, they're going to continue cooking for like 5 or 10 minutes. So if they're medium rare when they're in the pan, they're already overcooked. They'll be well done like by the time they're cooled. So and I like my steak rare. So there's our noodles, and then we have a perfectly cooked steak. I like to serve this with like a little green onion, maybe some bean sprouts, maybe some carrots. I know it's a little weird. You can leave them out if you think it's weird or gross. But I like to get veggies in anywhere I can. And I usually don't get this fancy. I usually just dump it all in a bowl. But yeah, creamy bacon kimchi noodles. Ooh, there goes my marinade. Enjoy.